So the transfer portal, I mentioned, it's buzzing. It's going crazy right now. We gave you our portal predictions for a lot of these quarterbacks already. I just want us to touch on a couple of other big names that are in there or either going to be in there. Again, follow Pete Nakos on Twitter. Follow the On3 portal account on Twitter. Follow the On3 main account on Twitter. Just like all the socials, I promise you, On3's got you taken care of. So go follow anything and everything in that sector. But just to kind of round out some of these notes on the portal, Eric Singleton, receiver from Georgia Tech, he's in the transfer portal. I tweeted it out yesterday. Like if transfer portal Monday is the equivalent of like college football Black Friday, this guy is like the television in the parking lot I'm fighting over. He's an absolute dude. He's already got visits lined up with Ole Miss, Georgia, and Auburn, it sounds like. 56 receptions, over 700 yards for 13.5 yards a catch for Georgia Tech last year. Dude's a weapon. He's going to be a baller for somebody in the SEC. If I'm Georgia, man, I am doing everything in my power to bring him to Athens. Because I just spoke about what you don't have on the perimeter. If you added Eric Singleton into that roster right now, that changes your entire approach offensively, much less what you could do. So I'm excited to see where he ends up. That's a big, big fish in the portal right now. Eric Singleton, probably best to keep the phone on, my guy. Probably best to field some of those calls. Staying in the wide receiver category, Johntay Cook, former big-time recruit, was at Texas, since is going into the portal. 2 early schools to watch per Pete Nakos and Steve Wiltfong, Texas A&M and Oregon. It would be just like Oregon, wouldn't it, to go out and land a Johntay Cook and add another just baller to that wide receiver room. There's a track record there of wide receivers adding into that offense, putting up big numbers, having success. That'd be attractive to me. If I'm Texas A&M, he might mean even more to me to land, just by nature of what I would hope we could do for a Marcel Reed to make our offense even more dynamic. Texas A&M offensively is always going to be tough with Mike Elko running the show. They're going to have a run game. They're going to have an offensive line that's going to try and maul you. But if they can add some missile launchers, some missile catchers, I guess, like a Johntay Cook to that offense, that would excite me if I'm an A&M fan. So keep an eye on that for those 2 programs as of right now. Devin Brown, Ohio State quarterback, is hitting the portal. And this is a guy, man, like a lot of times these guys hit the portal and you're like, they ran at the first sign of resistance. That's not Devin Brown. Devin Brown fought tooth and nail for that job on multiple occasions, ended up not being the guy on the 2 times that he went toe-to-toe for that job. Didn't happen that way. Like, good for him. I'm excited to see where he ends up. He has more than earned the right to go play somewhere else. That's not a guy that ran from anything, and I appreciate the heck out of that for Devin Brown. Just because you're not the guy at Ohio State with how stacked that quarterback room is every single year doesn't mean you can't spin it. So Devin Brown, I'm excited to see where he ends up. Malik Murphy, he's hitting the portal. He was at Texas a year ago. He was at Duke this past season. Pretty good year at Duke. I mean, almost 3,000 yards, 26 touchdowns, 12 picks. That's a guy that I'm very curious to see where he ends up. A little bit, quite frankly, surprised that he ended up in the portal because Duke had the success they had, because he had the success he had. Malik Murphy, I think he's someone that will have his services sought after, to say the least. So he's in the portal. That's kind of a noteworthy entry there. Very excited to see what his market is and what schools are in the mix. Kendrick Law, receiver from Alabama, he's in the portal. He's a guy that preseason, when you would go check the Bama online message boards or Alabama On3 site, or you would hear Kalen DeBoer talk about guys that are making some noise in spring practice or during fall camp, Kendrick Law was a name that kept coming up. Dude is just physically a specimen. I mean, ridiculously strong, super twitchy. I think he could be a guy that pops should he see the right amount of touches. Part of this, I think, for him not having the success he wanted to have at Alabama, it's no fault of Jalen Milroe, but like that offense was most successful when he was toting the rock. Like when he was doing something with his legs, when Alabama was able to have a ton of success. So I think for Kendrick Law, he goes somewhere where maybe they throw the football a little bit more. He's more of a focal point of the offense. I would not be shocked in the slightest if he had a massive year next year, wherever he ended up at. I don't think that's a situation where Kendrick Law has to go down a level to have the success that he wants to have. Before we got on the air here, former 5-star plus guy, Williams Nwaneri, an edge at Missouri this past year. From the 2024 class, he is going to hit the portal. Him and Keyshawn Silver, Kentucky defensive lineman, also in the portal. I mentioned them together because we've seen now defensive linemen, whether you be an edge or an interior guy, they are like gold in the portal. There is not a lot of big human beings that you can add to your roster with proven production in the SEC, like a Keyshawn Silver, that can have an instant impact for you. I think those are kind of the missing pieces kind of guys, if you will, that can make a massive impact for you. Keyshawn Silver, 6'4", 336 pounds. I mean, both him and Nwaneri will be massively sought after. Per On Threes, Pete Nakos, Florida, Miami, Michigan, and USC, all in the Keyshawn Silver sweepstakes as it stands right now. So we'll do this every show, kind of give you our spark notes for what's going on in the portal. A lot of names I'm sure will continue to file in there. Again, keep it locked right here on the On3 YouTube channel and on the On3 socials to stay up with all things portal throughout the portal madness. All right? A couple of big names in there. But again, Eric Singleton, man, I'm excited to see where he ends up. Dude is an absolute baller.